Okay. Well, I think to be respectful of the time, we'll go ahead and get started, and then hopefully others will jump on. But welcome, everyone. My name is Corey Josie. I'm the administrator for IHEN. So you don't often see my face. I'm a little more behind the scenes than everybody else, but we're excited to have you here today. I want to start off by thanking our sponsors, Ice Miller, Heapy, Arc Design, Cornerstone, Cat Sapper Miller, and InnovCare. And I would like to introduce you all to Annette Seabrook, who is the CEO at Community Rehabilitation Hospital North. And she is going to be leading our information session this evening. So Annette, if you'd like to take it away, go right ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Corey. I am very happy to be here doing this. I'm going to take a minute here so I can share my screen and pull up the presentation. So give me a second here. And from current slide, there we go. And can you tell me if you can at least see that?
Yep, you're good.
Perfect. Oops, let me go up to the top there. So yeah, thanks, Corey. I'm Annette Seabrook. I'm the CEO for Community Rehab Hospital North. I'm a physical therapist by background. After about, 15 years of practicing, went back to school and got my MHA. And it was through my time in the student program down at IUPUI that I learned about ACHE, and I've been involved in ACHE since then. So I am excited. I enjoy doing the fellow presentation. I am going to open my chat window. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat window. Otherwise, feel free to just speak up if you have a question as well. The first thing I'm going to say is, obviously, just as we go through this, I'm going to touch base on a couple of key areas, such as why pursuing the FACHE is a good thing to do. Also, how do you know you're eligible to apply for advancement? And then we'll go through what the application process is, the knowledge areas, and kind of what you should expect and how to prepare. I'll also flip, hopefully, to the website a couple of times, so we'll see how I do doing that. I think there we go. The first thing is just, all of you are on here, hopefully, because you're interested in pursuing and becoming a fellow of ACHE. So when we look at why would we want to do it, obviously, it's an opportunity to be recognized as a leader among leaders in healthcare management. And I think the FACHE credential stands for excellence. And I think that's one of the reasons to become a fellow. I think you not only indicate or show your expert level of knowledge and achievement, but I think it also helps elevate your professional standing, both in your own organization, but also depending on what you may be pursuing outside of your organization. I think it just helps you stand out amongst peers. I have heard from board members before, all things being equal, if it comes down to one or two candidates, there is sometimes a preference shown for someone that has their FACHE credential. As you look and learn more about the Board of Governors exam, you'll see that getting your FACHE demonstrates a competency in healthcare leadership with everything from strategy to community outreach to financial management. And I think it also helps strengthen our adaptability as a leader to face the ever-changing challenges that we are faced with. And then, there is that ongoing requirement for continuing education and professional development that I think helps demonstrate your kind of commitment to lifelong learning, innovation, and self-improvement. When I kind of mentioned some of these, I tend to go out of order a little bit, but I think it brings continuous value to you as a healthcare leader to get your FACHE. It's highly respected and provides important recognition. And as I mentioned before, it kind of acknowledges the deep understanding that you have. I think the other thing that I like to point out is the community of fellows is really collaborative and supportive. And I think if you get your FACHE and as you connect with other fellows, I think it's a valued source for lifelong personal and professional relationships. I usually like to ask people, what brings them to this meeting and what are they interested in. I just think kind of the Zoom format makes that a little less personal. So one of the things I want to go through is how do you know if you are eligible to apply? So we're going to kind of go through some of these requirements. The first one has to do with ACHE membership. For those of you that have been through an advancement course before or have been around for a little bit, you will remember that it used to be 3 years of tenure as a member of ACHE. Effective January 1st of 2021, you only have to be a member of ACHE for 1 year. So I think that's a pretty significant change, because I think in the past, we've had a lot of people who were extremely experienced, knowledgeable, met all of the other requirements, and they were just sitting around waiting to get their 3 years of membership. I think this is a really positive change in helping us grow and increase the number of fellows in the program. The thing that I do like to point out is that you have to be a full member for a year. So especially for the student associate, that tenure does not count towards the 1 year requirement. So oftentimes when I'm interacting with students, while I understand the student membership is much more cost effective, I encourage people to, especially if they're professionals going back to school, to go ahead and convert to full membership. From an education requirement, you have to have a master's degree or another post-baccalaureate degree. Some examples could be an MHA, MPH, MBA, MPA, but honestly, the degree does not have to be specific to healthcare. As part of the application process, you are going to be required to attach a copy of either your diploma or the official transcript to show that you've achieved this. When we look at the post-baccalaureate degrees, you know, these may not be full graduate or professional degrees. They could be 1 or 2 year programs beyond the bachelor's degree. Some examples I've heard of are graduate certificates, graduate diplomas, pre-medical certifications to pursue a master's degree. Things along those lines can also count, but you are looking for something post-bachelor's from an education perspective. The healthcare management experience, I think this has been one that's always been a little bit difficult for people to wrap their minds around depending on your position. Their eligibility requirement is that you have at least 5 years of executive level healthcare management experience. That you're, you know, this could be that you're employed by a healthcare organization. The position must be at least a department director or department head level. And some of the examples you can see, obviously your C-suites are very obvious, your vice presidents, your directors, your department heads. Positions that don't qualify, trying to get stuff out of my way, maybe analyst, coordinator, program manager, specialist, residencies, internships, things like that. The thing I do want to point out is I actually did have a conversation with someone from ACHE just yesterday to talk specifically about this category. And they did mention that, you know, if you feel like you have the experience, but your title may not be right, don't be afraid to reach out to ACHE customer support. If you share with them your job description, organizational chart, and resume, they can help you determine if your title really does meet the definition. And I say that because sometimes there's smaller organizations that have different job title structures, and it may not be the right title, but once you drill down and look at the responsibilities, it really is executive level responsibilities. I'm going to get out of the presentation for a second because I do think this is an area that ACHE has really improved the website recently. And if you come out to the ACHE website and go to the FACHE section and then under Earn My FACHE, Earn Your Fellow, there is a lot of information out here. But if you come out to the Learn More About Healthcare Management, there are some good examples down here about things that they're looking for specifically if you're a physician, a nurse. I know we get a lot of questions about consultants. And what I discussed yesterday with ACHE with consultants was they're really looking for people that are leaders of a team. So if you are a consultant, but you are leading the team, that would be something that would potentially qualify. So I do recommend the website for a lot of the information and clarification. And again, any questions, please reach out to customer support at ACHE. There is out on ACHE a matrix. This is not required at all, but it may help you as you go through your current role and responsibilities to determine, one, do you meet the eligibility requirements, or is there somewhere that you may need to beef up your experience a little bit? So going through the categories of, a role that is involved in planning, organizing, staffing, controlling, directing, decision-making, and financial management. Again, not required, but may help you decide if you meet the expectations for management experience. If you're a physician or a nurse, you should hold a department head or director position, and you need to have at least 50% of your time devoted to managing administrative functions. Again, consultants need to hold a top leadership role with their team. Faculty must hold a program director or chair position or some other high-level administrative position within the department. The next part of eligibility is that you must have 2 references. These are done online. I can tell you they're very easy to do. The purpose of the references is it provides confirmation that a candidate holds the professional attributes that we're looking for fellow status. The first reference is a structured interview. This can be done either face-to-face or by telephone between you and a current fellow. The interview focuses on your professional capacities related to competence, sound judgment, integrity, ethics. Obviously, if it's someone that you know and work with, they may know these things already. But also, if you don't know someone that is a fellow through ACHE or through the directory or through your local chapter, IHEN, they can connect you with someone that's a fellow, and then it may be a little bit more of a structured interview just because they need to get to know you. The second reference is just in written form and should come from either a current fellow or senior leader within your organization. Again, they're very easy to complete and they're all done online. The next part of the eligibility requirements is that you must have 36 hours of healthcare continuing education within the past 3 years. A minimum of 12 hours of that must be face-to-face education. ACHE places emphasis on the face-to-face education because we think that it provides the opportunity to learn from other members a little bit better, and it enables you to grow your peer network. With the current pandemic, they are offering more and more virtual courses that will count for that face-to-face education. I've historically told people that for me, the biggest bang for my buck was to go to Congress, and I could get those 12 hours by attending Congress. But the virtual options are a nice option given everything going on right now. In addition to Congress, there's cluster seminars, online education, things like that. The remaining hours of 24 hours, they can continue to be face-to-face education, or they can be other healthcare related education. I think sometimes people think that everything has to come from ACHE, and it does not. For example, in my last position, I was very involved in SG2, and a lot of the SG2 conferences, I use those for my education, and those have always been accepted. So don't think it has to be just ACHE education. When we look, I didn't look ahead. That's what I get to doing. So when we look at the virtual, they are offering a lot of these through June of next year right now. Depending on what happens, those will increase. There are various courses that are worth 3, 6, 9 face-to-face hours. There's real-time live group discussions course readings, assessments, and surveys. There's also on-demand webinars you can use, online seminars, self-study courses also count. And if you're someone that wants to do the Board of Governors exam review course, that is also something that counts as education. So a lot of different events listed on the website, but also don't forget about things that are outside of ACHE. The next part of the eligibility requirements are volunteer activities. You have to have 2 healthcare related activities within the last 3 years and 2 community or civic activities within the past 3 years. I think contributing to the industry and one's local community has always been a hallmark of ACHE. And it's really about executives being a part of their community to continue to grow in leadership, but also understand the needs of the community that we serve. Some examples of healthcare related activities might include service to ACHE or other local or national healthcare related organizations, such as a board or committee participation, organizing a community health fair, volunteering or participating in a blood drive, or perhaps speaking at a workshop or a group on a healthcare related issue. Examples of community or civic activities may include participation in charitable or religious organizations, serving on a local school or community board, participating in fundraising events, even coaching volunteer coaching a sports team or a youth team, or involvement in like a scouting group or a local 4-H group. When you go to enter this, you're going to enter your activities and you're going to be able to designate whether they're a healthcare related activity or a community related activity. So it's pretty broad, and they don't require ongoing involvement. So even, helping with Habitat for Humanity for one weekend can count as a community activity. The last part of being eligible for being a fellow in the American College is to pass your Board of Governors exam. I guess that's the big one, which we're going to go into a little bit more about the application process and the test itself after this. But if we look back, so as we talked about, you have to have a 1-year membership starting January 1st, a 1-year membership in ACHE. You have to have a master's degree or a post-baccalaureate degree. You have to have the 5 years of healthcare management experience, the 2 references, with one of them being a structured interview, the 36 hours of continuing education within the past 3 years, with 12 of those credits being face-to-face, and then the 2 healthcare and the 2 community-related volunteer activities. So before I move on to how to apply and how to take the exam, is there any questions on that? Let me see here. Oh, thank you, Corey. I just now saw the chat of you couldn't see my website. So there is a question of what happens if you've applied and your healthcare management experience is not accepted. My biggest recommendation is to actually call the customer service at ACHE. They will connect you with the right person that can talk through your experience and figure out what was the area that didn't quite match up. It may have been that a job responsibility isn't explained in a way that most benefits you. It could be that they need to better understand the job title. So what was recommended to me is to encourage people to use the customer service from that perspective. The website, okay. I'm going to share the website real fast. Okay, can you see the website now?
Yes, you're good.
All right, thank you. I didn't have my chat box up, so I missed that message, sorry. If you come out to the website, there is a section for FACHE that you can go to. And when you click on that, there is a part about earning your fellow. And within there, it talks about all of the requirements I just went through. And if you come down to healthcare management experience and click on that, this is where there is a little bit more information that is helpful. about their formal definition of healthcare management experience and what they're looking for, as well as, it's at a project or program level. Again, that the fellowships don't apply, but as I mentioned, if you come down a little further, physicians, nurses, consultants, or faculty, there's a little bit more information there. And then here is that matrix I referred to that is voluntary, but there are some examples. So if you think of yourself as an administrator, I have no idea what's going to come up here. We'll see. You can see here, they're looking at that they feel like they do these activities, they do the organizing, they do the staffing, controlling, directing. So if you can kind of work your way through this, it helps you out, versus this person is a practice manager and probably isn't doing enough in the area of controlling or financial management. So just some examples there. But again, any questions, I would reach out to the customer service. Okay.
Can you
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
Yeah.
Okay. I am from information technology at a vice president level. Will that be acceptable?
Yeah.
With several years of experience.
Yeah. So once you get into those types of titles, as far as president, director, so if you see right here, eligible positions include C-suite executives, vice presidents, directors, department heads. Those are all going to be acceptable titles. So you should not have an issue at all with that kind of title.
Thank you.
Okay. And then let me go back to here. There we go. Okay. Any other questions on this part? Oops. Okay. So if we go to the application process itself, again, if you go into the website, to the FACHE section, you'll see there's an area for start or continue my application. You can start the application process in one of two ways. This is the first way, by going through this section. The other way is if you're logged in to my ACHE and you go to the helpful links when you're logged in, you will find that there is an option down here at the bottom to apply for FACHE. So you can start either way. What's going to happen is you're going to add information to the areas of my degrees, my work history, my healthcare and community activities. These are those volunteer activities. And you're going to be able to go into the My Education credits section to see where you're at with education, or add some non-ACHE education credits there. You can access the application at any time to begin tracking and planning your progress. So even if you feel like you're 6 months or a year away from applying, you can still go in and start to fill this information out just to help you with the tracking. This is also, when you go in, you're going to have to download, your or upload, I should say, your resume, your org chart, your job description. Those are all things that you'll have to send as well. The application will indicate when you've met all of the requirements, such as your 2 references have been completed, you have 5 years of experience, you have the right degree, you have the 4 different volunteer activities. You cannot actually submit your application until all of the eligibility requirements we discussed have been met. So when we look at the process, I like to break it down into 5 steps. Step 1, you have to meet the eligibility requirements. And then step 2, you're going to submit that completed application with a $250 application fee. At that point, ACHE is going to confirm the completion of all the eligibility requirements, that you've met all of those requirements, and they will authorize you at that point to sit for the Board of Governors exam. Once that happens, that application is valid for 2 years. So you could submit your application now and not actually take the test for 1.5 years or something like that. But you do have to meet all the other eligibility requirements to submit the application. When we look at step 4, this is where you're going to register for the exam, and you're going to have this is where you're going to have an exam fee. So this is one thing I like to point out. There is an application fee and there is an exam fee. Now, Corey, you may know this more than me. They used to have all the time, sometimes a periodic coupon where one of those fees was waived. And so I would always recommend to people, wait till one of those coupons comes up. So I don't know if they still do those.
Yeah, they do different promotions. Over the summer, I think the whole exam fee was waived for a couple of months. But I don't think they have a set schedule for when they do those. I try to advertise them as much as possible on IHEN's LinkedIn and Twitter. So make sure you're following, because we'll always try to post those for you.
Okay. Thanks, Corey. And then you'll schedule your exam. Here it says a Pearson VUE. When I took mine, it was like at a Sylvan Learning Center. It's one of those centers that you're going to go in. They're going to check you in. You're sitting in a little room. You got to feel like you're going through security just to go to the bathroom, that sort of thing. But you will schedule yourself for an exam at that point in time to go to it. After you take the exam, you're going to, as soon as you finish the exam and you're sitting there at the center and you press complete, you're going to know right then whether you passed or not. There's no waiting for results. ACHE shared that there's a pass rate of about 73%. For the first time, I was shared that a pass score of about 65%. And then if you pass by the end of the year, you are eligible in the next Congress to participate in the actual ceremony at Congress. You don't have to do that. That's voluntary. Some people really take pride in, the gown and everything with the whole ceremony. But only the people that pass the Board of Governors by the end of the year are eligible at the next year. This year, with probably a virtual Congress, I don't know how that will go. If you fail the test, don't worry about it. You can take it again. You can take it as many times as you want during that period, but you have to wait at least 60 days before you can take another attempt. So you can't just come back the next day. But if you wait 60 days, you can take it again. You don't pass it, you can wait 60 days, you can take it again. If for some reason, that's within that 2-year application period, if you don't pass within the 2 years of your application, then you will have to start all the way back over with the application process. I'm going to go next into the actual test and how to prepare for it and the topic items. But any other questions on just the application process? Okay. So when it comes to preparing for the test, there's a couple of different things that you can do. And I think it really depends on who you are, your experience, your study style. I always joke, I had 2 people that I spoke to before I sat for the Board of Governors exam. One person told me they ordered every single book that ACHE recommended. They read them all, they took all the practice tests, and they did all of that before they took the test. The other person told me they just signed up and went and did it. And just based on their years of experience, they passed. So it's really just about how comfortable you are and how much preparation you feel like you need to do. When we look at some of the options on the test, just so that you know, the test is 230 multiple choice questions. There are 10 knowledge areas for healthcare management that are on the test, and they give you up to 6 hours to complete it. So it is a good chunk of time. There are always some questions on the test that are test questions that they may use for future exams that don't actually count. I always found that odd because I may be sitting there deliberating about a question and struggling with the answer, and I don't even know if it's actually a real question on the test. They do a study of the questions every 5 years, and the last one was completed in 2017. So I do think that in the next couple of years, there will be an updated test. Each of the 10 areas represents a portion of the exam, and I've got a chart here. So you can see of the questions, there's going to be 28 questions related to healthcare, 26 questions related to management and leadership, 24 questions related to finance, and you can kind of see your way through there. So let's say, for example, you're coming in to take the test and you don't have a lot of experience with governance and working with a governing board or boards. You can choose to study a lot on those, or you can choose to realize that only is going to count for 6% of the questions on the test, and maybe I'll take my chances and see how I do. But those are the 10 knowledge areas, and you can see how much they account for it. When I look at the questions on the test, the other thing that I like to point out is that a lot of the questions are what is the first thing you would do, or what is the best thing that you would do? Many times on the questions, I would find 3 or 4 of the choices are things that I would actually do, but it's sitting there relying upon your leadership experience to pick the best thing that you would do. When we look at how to prepare, ACHE recommends allowing 3 to 6 months to prepare for the test and review the 10 key knowledge areas. But again, a lot of that's going to depend on your years of experience, what exposure you've had in the real world, and how comfortable you are. There's a couple of different things you can do. There is a review course that you can do. I will tell you, I have this one up here, but I was notified yesterday that this class is full. So this one is not available, but it does serve as an example because they do plan to add a virtual Board of Governors exam review course after the new year. So there will be a couple more added in the first quarter. But these are live courses. Each one's about 1.5 hours each over several days. You earn 12 ACHE face-to-face education hours, and it goes through all of those 10 knowledge areas. So the idea is at the completion of that course, you'll be ready to take that test and have all the information that you need. I did not do this option, but I know a lot of people that did use this to prepare. There is also an exam online tutorial. This is 1 year access to the course. You get PowerPoint slides, audio lectures, reading materials. This is the option that I did. I could somewhat study at my own pace, listening to the audio lectures when it was convenient for me and reviewing the PowerPoint slides. You do have to complete them all to achieve the 10 credits. But again, that's going to take you through all 10 knowledge areas for the test to provide you with the information as far as preparing you for the course. A couple of other options that are available if you're not the type that wants to go to an actual course, or you're not the type that wants to do that online. If you just want some resources, ACHE does have a study set available with 4 books that you can order to get that 4-book step that they feel these will help prepare you for those 10 knowledge areas. Additionally, there's exam flashcards that are available. So there's a digital version as well, but they have questions and answers, again, kind of going through those knowledge areas to prepare you for the test. There is actually a bundle as well. I didn't put it in here, but if you can bundle the study set with the flashcards for a reduced price. And then I actually already talked about the online tutorial. So the studying, again, it's up to you. On the website, there's a practice test. There's practice questions. If you're the type that wants a course to help keep you on track, that's fine. Again, if you're the type that just wants to take the test, that's fine as well. It's whatever you're comfortable with. When we look at, we'll assume you've taken the test and you've passed. So when we look at the recertification requirement, you're going to have to recertify as a fellow every 3 years. That's going to involve making sure that you ongoing complete 36 hours of continuing education during that 3 years. Again, just like when you initially applied, 12 of those are going to have to be face-to-face. You also have to continue to participate in 2 healthcare activities and 2 community or civic related activities within those 3 years. And then there is a $200 recertification fee. The other option, I don't know who would want to do it, but you could choose to retake the Board of Governors exam. Again, you still have to continue to participate in healthcare activities and 2 community activities. Personally, I go for my 36 hours of education and not retaking the Board of Governors exam because I'm not really sure why anyone would want to volunteer to do that again. And really, that's kind of it. I think the exciting thing is that hopefully this will be the thing to kind of kickstart you getting applied. Many of you have all of the experience, you have all of the knowledge. It's actually just taking the step to apply and take the test. And I really can't encourage you anymore to do that. I mean, I think it's been a great experience for me. I think it helped propel me into the C-suite from a program director level. I think it was super beneficial. Even myself, when I was ready to sit for the test, I was not in a C-suite level. I was new to a director level position. I didn't have experience with governance, prior to that. But with that 3 to 6 months of preparation, I was able to pass the test on my first attempt. So I do encourage everybody to participate. And that's really, it's hard when I can't see everybody and respond. I am not a fan of Zoom and WebEx conferences, but if anybody has any questions, I am more than happy to do my best to answer them, or Corey can answer them, or I can go back in slides, whatever you like. But that's my presentation.
Thanks, Annette. I just want to add that in case you didn't see in the chat feature, IHEN does have a set of the Board of Governor flashcards available for anyone who would like to borrow them. So I am happy to get those to anyone. I mean, I can drop them off, or if you live further away, can have them mailed to you. We also have several members on our Career Development Committee and board members who have recently passed their Board of Governors exam, who are more than happy to answer questions, help you throughout the process. So if there's something you're looking for, if you feel like you need a little more support, please don't ever hesitate to reach out, because we want to help you through this process and make sure that it is smooth for you and you feel as prepared as you can. So
does the local chapter conduct courses or something that we can take? Is that possible?
We have not done that as far as I know. It's something that I know we are able to do. We just haven't put it on ourselves. But that's definitely feedback I can take to our Career Development Committee and our board, and we can look into doing.
Yeah, and the only thing that I would add is I kind of went back to the website. It really is a good website, and the process is super easy as far as, having those resources out there for preparing and guidelines of how to get to their sample exam outlines. There's a competency assessment tool. There's actually a practice test. And so the information is all out here and easily available. You start your application online, which is very easy to do. It tracks the completion of those, like I said. So definitely don't hesitate to use the resources available on the website as well. Otherwise, I was trying to see if I saw, I don't think there's any other questions in there. I do know, the one other thing I wanted to point out, and I apologize for this. Fellow recertifications, well, that's not going to be anybody on here. I was going to say they did extend because of COVID the deadlines for recertification, but I'm going to assume most people on this are going for their first application. So that's it.
And,
Thank you guys.
Sorry, I arrived late to the meeting, but maybe you discussed this. Is there a wider list of a variety of healthcare and community civic activities that are suggestions for the volunteer activity requirement somewhere by chance?
Yeah, let me see if there's one on the website since I'm here.
There is a list on there, and but I didn't know if maybe the ACHE had more examples than what was on there or not.
Yeah, I mean, I compare my notes. You know, I participate in, you know, I organized a team for the Heart Walk. I use that as one of my community ones. We did Habitat for Humanity. I use that as one of my community ones. I know some people that serve on school boards. I think the biggest thing I think I mentioned is that it doesn't necessarily have to be ongoing, but can be, you know, a one-time volunteer experience. I know when we used to go to Congress, they put together some categories. I'm sorry, I was trying to flip through my notes to see what I wrote down here. Organizing a community health fair, volunteering or participating in a blood drive. That's a pretty easy one, especially now there's such a need for blood. So participating in a blood drive counts. Being a speaker at a workshop or just talking to someone on healthcare related issues. So depending on your role, if you're doing some sort of community presentation or presentation to a professional organization like the Case Management Association or IHEN or IHA, or if you guest lecture. I know a lot of our members guest lecture in the MBA and MHA programs downtown. Those would be good examples. Corey, I don't know if you have any others.
I was going to plug that you can always volunteer for one of the IHEN committees. And really, the commitment usually is a monthly phone call. And then you can take it and roll with it in what way you want. We have some volunteers that are heavily involved, and I might talk to them weekly about things we're working on, and some that I just talk to once a month on that call. So it just kind of depends. And also IHEN has a volunteer committee. Over the summer, we did a volunteer drive for Riley Children's Hospital. We're getting ready to plan one for Peyton Manning Children's Hospital. So participating in those, although those are virtual, I would assume they still count, are, you know, ways you can stay connected to the chapter and get your volunteering in.
Yeah, like I'm coordinating a pasta drive right now for second helpings at our company. So, you know, usually if you kind of look at what your responsibilities are and what you're already involved in, a lot of times you can find something that you're already involved in that will count.
Okay, those are good suggestions. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Well, I hope everybody is being safe and masking up. And so enjoy the rest of your evening. This looks like it's a beautiful sunset as I look out my office windows. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Annette.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Annette.
Thank you.
You guys are welcome.